The missile trails over the Isfahan Desert have yet to dissipate, but on July 26, 2025, news of Iran's first full-scale operational test of the Russian-made S-400 air defense system has already sent shockwaves through the global defense community. The combination of the 9-1 search radar and the 4-6 long-range missile is aimed at Israel's F-35I stealth fighter jets. However, this exercise, whose codename remains undisclosed, has exposed Tehran's deeper dilemmas in weapons procurement. Why did the more advanced Chinese HQ-9BE ultimately fail to secure the contract? The answer lies buried in the triple fog of geopolitical rivalry, technological compatibility, and strategic ambiguity. Russia's technical narrative for the S-400 is highly compelling, a range of over 400 kilometers, a three-dimensional intercept network covering 30 kilometers of altitude, and claimed anti-stealth capabilities, directly addressing Iran's anxiety stemming from the F-35, is repeated penetrations. When the first batch of components arrived in Tehran via an Il-76 in August 2024, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard had confidently declared that the domestically produced Bavar 373 system was sufficient to counter the threat. However, a live-fire test a year later exposed this claim as false. The domestic system experienced a 17-minute response delay when facing electronic interference from the F-35I during the 12-day war, and key positions were preemptively infiltrated and damaged. However, the S-400's actual combat capabilities have already faded in multiple conflicts. Its L-band radar's detection range for the F-35I, with a radar cross-section of just 0.001 square meters, is limited to within 150 kilometers, while Israel's Rampage missiles have a range of 1,000 kilometers, enabling them to launch strikes from outside the defense zone. In the India-Pakistan conflict, the 4-6 missile not only failed to intercept Pakistan's Thunder 15E but also, due to guidance failure, mistakenly entered Pakistani airspace and was shot down by the HQ-9BE. More critically, there's a production capacity crisis. Russia's production capacity has shrunk due to the Russia-Ukraine war. Belarus and India's orders have been delayed for years, and Iran's share is merely a drop in the bucket, making it impossible to establish a complete defense network. In comparison, the performance parameters of China's HQ-9BE actually surpass those of the S-400 in all aspects. Its dual-pulse engine propels it to a terminal speed exceeding Mach 6, far surpassing the S-400's Mach 4.8. The SJ-212 active phased array radar can lock onto an F-35I at a range of 150 kilometers. With anti-jamming modules optimized for the complex electromagnetic environment of the Middle East, its multi-target processing capability far surpasses the S-400, capable of simultaneously tracking 144 targets and guiding 16 missiles to attack 8 of them. More critically, its cost-effectiveness is unmatched, with a unit price of just $150 million, less than half that of the S-400, and China's industrial supply chain ensures stable production. However, Iran ultimately rejected the HQ-9BE due to 3 insurmountable constraints for China. 1. Pressure from Gulf allies, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other core partners of the Belt and Road Initiative are hostile to Iran. If arms sales trigger a backlash, it could undermine billions of dollars in energy cooperation projects. 2. Nuclear issue implications. The West often links Iran's military purchases to its nuclear program. If China sells the HQ-9BE, it could be accused of proliferating missile technology. 3. Intelligence leakage risks. The Mossad has deeply infiltrated Iran's air defense forces and has previously carried out precise attacks on S-300 sites. If details of the HQ-9BE deployment are stolen, China's core military technology could face the risk of reverse engineering. Iran's insistence on the S-400 is essentially an inevitable choice for the Russian-Iranian military symbiosis. Since 2022, the two sides have formed a closed-loop system of weapons for oil plus technology. Iran provides Russia with the Witness 136 drone production line, and the Russian military has consumed over 2,000 of these drones in Ukraine. In return, Russia supplies Su-35 fighter jets and S-400 systems, breaking through Western sanctions red lines. This arrangement provides Iran with short-term strategic protection, but sacrifices equipment cost-effectiveness. The S-400 requires rebuilding data links and maintenance systems, while the HQ-9BE can seamlessly integrate into China's existing radar network. At a deeper level lies the inertia of technological dependence. Iran's air defense system has long been anchored to Russian standards. From the S-300 to the domestically produced Faith 373, the command chain and fire control logic have remained consistent. Introducing the HQ-9BE would require a complete overhaul of the operational system, whereas the S-400 can be rapidly deployed using existing Russian-style infrastructure. As an Iranian officer privately admitted, retraining operators takes more time than dealing with Israeli airstrikes. The real technological self-rescue occurred in the field of navigation. During the 12-day war, the interruption of GPS signals caused Iranian missiles to lose accuracy, and the command system to collapse. Israel further exploited mobile phone GPS modules to locate and assassinate 71 high-ranking officials and scientists. This harsh lesson forced Iran to announce in early August a full transition to China's Beidou system. Its positioning accuracy in the Asia-Pacific region reaches centimeter-level precision, with anti-jamming capabilities 10 times that of GPS. Its unique short message functionality enables communication even in offline environments, and each Beidou chip costs only $4, saving $1.2 billion annually in GPS licensing fees. More critically, Beidou military terminals have been deployed by at least 7 countries, with Saudi Arabia even using them to command weapons against Houthi forces. Iran's ultimate strategy involves a dual-track approach, publicly testing the S-400 system to leverage Russia's deterrent power and establish a psychological defense line, particularly with its 400-kilometer range covering the entire Israeli territory, forcing adversaries to reassess the costs of airstrikes. The covert strategy, as disclosed by the Middle East Eye, involves Iran exchanging oil for several sets of HQ-9BE batteries, which are secretly deployed around Tehran's nuclear facilities. The S-400 system handles strategic deterrence, while the HQ-9BE system, with its higher intercept accuracy, safeguards core targets. Even more covert is the technical feedback mechanism. Iran transmits live fire test data from the HQ-9BE back to China to help optimize the HQ-17 anti-missile system. China, in turn, provides customized anti-drone modules to pave the way for future access to the Saudi market. Under this symbiotic relationship, S-400 testing appears more like a political gesture to Russia, while the actual defense line quietly bears China's imprint. Iran's top priority is not to pursue perfect air defense, but to shatter Israel's technological invincibility myth. Even if the S-400 only forces the F-35I to increase its evasion altitude or adopt a standoff strike strategy, it has already secured critical warning time for Iran. As former Russian Air Force General Beidou stated, the true power of an air defense system often lies in the hesitation of the enemy when formulating operational plans. Although China has not become Iran's primary air defense supplier, it has used the opportunity to achieve 3 strategic objectives. The complex electromagnetic environment in the Middle East provides extreme testing data for the upgrade of the HQ-9BE. Saudi Arabia, having witnessed the deployment effects in Iran, has already begun discussions with China about potential imports, exporting the YLC-8E anti-stealth radar to Iran, gradually building a hybrid air defense network combining Chinese-style radar plus Russian-style missiles, laying the groundwork for future full-scale takeover. Amid the dust of Isfahan, the posture of S-400 launchers pointing toward the horizon mirrors Iran's position in the triangular power struggle between the US, Russia, and China. Choosing Russian weapons is not a simple comparison of technical superiority, but rather paying insurance premiums for geopolitical protection through military orders. Meanwhile, the Honky 9B launch vehicles hidden in Tehran's basements, and the Beidou satellite navigation network covering the entire country hint at a more pragmatic survival logic when the fierce winds of great power rivalry sweep across the Persian Gulf. The strongest shield is forged from different metal plates, and the most precise navigation is guided by indigenous satellites. If Israeli warplanes once again tear through the night sky, the screens in Iran's Air Defense Command Center will show Russian-made radar scans intertwining with the trajectories of Chinese missiles, ultimately weaving a new map of power in the Middle East.